Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to our session here. We are very excited to have you joining us in SkillsFuture Month at SIT. I'm Shohui, an undergraduate student from SIT, and I will be your student host for this session. The title of this session is Sustainable Mobility, Electric Vehicles and Charging Systems. We are honored to have our speaker from ITE, Mr. Gregory Lim, who will be speaking to us today. Mr. Gregory Lim provides leadership in the curriculum development and assessment of automotive programs. His experience in the School of Engineering, ITE College West, extends to course delivery, conceptualization and design of facilities, compliance audits, corporate relations, and technical and vocational education and training accountancy. Without further ado, let us welcome our speaker, Mr. Gregory Lim.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. So before we jump into today's topic, allow me to spend a minute to introduce ITE. The Institute of Technical Education was established in 1992 under the Ministry of Education, MOE. So in ITE, we are the principal provider of career and technical education, and we are also a key developer of national skills, certification, and standards in Singapore. At ITE, we offer three key programs, okay, and they are pre-employment training. These are for youths who have completed their secondary education. Continuing education and training, or CET, that's for adult learners. We also work with employers to offer industry-based and work-study programs. So as some of you may already know, under our one ITE system, three colleges model, ITE has three colleges, which are College Central, College East, and College West. Okay, let me quickly dive into today's presentation, which is electric vehicles and charging infrastructure. These are the topics which I'll be walking you through, types of electric vehicles, and we'll be looking at hybrid vehicles, battery electric, and what are plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Okay? And then we will walk quickly through Singapore's electric vehicle roadmap. And we'll be looking at the charging infrastructure, tax incentives, as well as regulations and standards. Now, electric vehicles, okay, there are three main types of electric vehicles, and they are essentially classified by the fuel or the energy source that they use. The most common that we have on our roads today are what we call hybrid electric vehicles, or HEV for short. Okay, so HEVs are powered by both an internal combustion engine, or we call ICE, as well as an electric motor that is recharged by both the ICE and through something called regenerative braking. Now, what is regenerative braking? Every time, for those of you who drive, every time you attempt to slow down your car or bring your car to a stop, you depress the brake pedal. And in a hybrid electric vehicle, when you do that, the vehicle actually recharges the battery as the vehicle is slowing down or coming to a stop. Okay, so that's regenerative braking. So as you can see on the screen here, the Toyota Hybrid Camry is one example of a hybrid electric vehicle. Okay. To further make things interesting for us, hybrid electric vehicles, okay, there are three types. Okay, one is a series hybrid. Now, in a series hybrid, okay, the engine drives the electric motor and doesn't drive the wheels at all. Okay, so the car is essentially driven by the electric motor. So an example of a series hybrid in our local context is the Nissan Note e-Power. Any of the Nissan e-Power series of cars are actually series hybrids. Next will be our parallel hybrid. A parallel hybrid is propelled by both the internal combustion engine and electric motor. So vehicles in this category are usually what we term as mild hybrids. So if you look at the Volvo XC90, okay, is available in a mild hybrid version. So in this car, both the engine and the electric motors are driving the car at the same time. Last one is the series parallel hybrid. Now, in the series parallel hybrid, again, the electric motor as well as the engine are running the car, but there's a computer system to manage how each of them, being the motor as well as the engine, contributes to optimal performance of the car. Okay. Example of a series parallel hybrid will be your Toyota Prius. Let me take a few seconds to introduce you to some of the micro learning courses that we are offering at ITE. Okay, this one is you see on the screen now on hybrid electric vehicle. Okay, so you can access all this is free in our ITE website. Okay. The next category of hybrid vehicles are what we call battery electric vehicles. Okay. So these are pure electric vehicles powered only by electric motor and recharge usually from a charging station. So a Hyundai Ioniq Electric is one example of a battery electric vehicle. Okay, these are commonly used as taxis on our roads right now. So again, we offer a micro learning course on battery electric vehicle. All our micro learning courses are very bite-sized in nature, meaning it can be completed in under 1 hour. Okay. So please go check them out. The third type of hybrid electric vehicle is what we call our plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Okay. What is that? So such a car will have an internal combustion engine and an electric motor. However, the internal combustion engine does not recharge the electric motor or the batteries. The batteries are recharged by literally plugging the car into an external power source. Okay. So XC60 Recharge by Volvo is one example of a plug-in hybrid vehicle. So you may ask yourself, well, if I'm interested in getting myself an electric car in Singapore, what options do I have? Now, as at April this year, these are some of the many brands and models of electric cars, okay, that you may buy in Singapore. Of course, different prices. This reflects both the level of trim, okay, as well as the range of the vehicles. Let's now talk about Singapore's electric vehicle roadmap. Okay. Now, to encourage electric vehicles adoption in Singapore, okay, our Land Transport Authority is focusing on 3 areas. One is electric vehicle charger deployment. Next, of course, we need to look at our taxes and incentives, okay, to make these vehicles viable. And we need to have regulations and standards, okay, for safety. Our authorities are working very hard to expand the electric vehicle network, even as we speak. At the beginning of the year, there are about 1,800 charging points island-wide. And by the end of this decade, in 2030, we shall be looking at close to 6,000 charging points. Okay. So the agencies involved, okay, are LTA, okay, Ministry of Transport, and they will be driving EV growth in Singapore. Okay. So access to charging points in the public is also very important. Okay. As at November last year, if you drive an electric car, you will note that there are about 600 charging points installed at over 200 public car parks across Singapore. Okay. Of course, this number will increase substantially over time. This must happen because Singapore targets to cease or to stop new diesel car and taxi registrations from 2025. Okay, which means that from that time onwards, all new car and taxi registrations must be clean energy models. Okay, and by 2040, which is not very far away, okay, all vehicles that we buy in Singapore must be running on cleaner energy. So today, in our local landscape, we have electric vehicle charging operators like Blue SG, Charge Plus, Greenlots, Shell, and SP Group already providing charging services locally in petrol stations, shopping malls, office buildings, and industrial complexes. So this shows one example of charging stations that are available to the public, and these are operated by the SP Group. So as you can see, if you are living in the West right now, you are not being served very well, but rest assured, okay, in a few years' time, there'll be more charging stations distributed fairly across our island. As far as public housing estates are concerned, okay, charging points will be implemented in phases island-wide. So there'll be 8 electric vehicle ready towns by 2025. We're talking about another 3.5 years. In these towns, every HDB car park will be fitted with charging points. I believe if you walk around your estates, you will see such charging points already. By the 2030s, our Land Transport Authority intends to make every HDB town an electric vehicle ready town. Okay. This has to be done so that there will be no anxiety on the part of the driver when you drive your electric vehicle that you will run out of juice and are unable to recharge. So again, we offer a micro learning course on sustainable land transport. Okay, this is something that provides you with more information on our e-mobility roadmap. Okay. So do check this course out. The LTA has set up the National Electric Vehicle Center, or NEVC. The center will spearhead the drive to promote wider electric vehicle adoption in Singapore, okay, so that we can hit our target of having our vehicles run on cleaner energy by 2040. Okay. And in addition to the expansion of this nationwide charging infrastructure, okay, the NEVC will also drive efforts, okay, to review our electric vehicle regulations and standards in an aim of developing a robust electric vehicle ecosystem in Singapore. So to encourage electric vehicle adoption, okay, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at 50 to 60,000 electric vehicle charging points at public car parks as well as private premises by the end of this decade. And to do that, over $30 million will be pumped over the next 5 years into electric vehicle related initiatives. This goes into our Singapore budget. Our cost of electric cars will increasingly become more affordable, okay? Meaning the price differential between electric cars and the internal combustion engine cars that we're also used to driving will narrow over time. So how is this done? Well, one is by lowering the registration fee, and the other is by adjusting the road tax for electric cars. Okay, so over time, electric cars will be no more costlier than our internal combustion engine vehicles. Although today you do pay a slight premium if you wish to buy one. That's for today. Okay, but it pays to be an early adopter if you're one. Okay, let's go talk about regulations and standards of electric vehicle charging systems for Singapore. Okay. If you look at all developed countries that have adopted electric vehicles on their roads, okay, it is important to have regulations and standards, okay, for essentially it's for the safety of the vehicle owners. So in Singapore, Type 2 AC and Combo 2 DC charging systems will be adopted as our national public charging standards. Okay. What are these? Okay, so let me dive into that. So the standard says that all battery electric vehicle, okay, we covered that earlier, remember, as well as plug-in hybrid vehicles. So these are vehicles that have to be plugged in to recharge the batteries. Okay? Must have one of the following connectors. Okay, so what you see on your screen now is one type of connector. Okay? What's the difference between the connector on the left and on the right of the screen? Well, on the left of the screen is the plug that you will see dangling off the charging connector or charging station. The one on the right, okay, is the matching plug on the vehicle itself. Okay? So if you see a plug of this shape, you are looking at the Type 2 AC charging socket, okay, or a Type 2 vehicle connector. Okay. Altogether, there are three types of connectors. Okay, we are looking at the top of the screen. Okay. Another type of connector. This is called combined charging system version 2. Okay. Or CCS2 for short. Okay, so a connector like this is capable of charging your vehicle at both AC as well as DC. Okay, AC of course is alternating current and DC is direct current. Right? And the last plug that you will see is a Type 2 inlet and combined with something called a CHAdeMO vehicle inlet for DC charging. Okay, that's at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so question that I normally get is, so which is better? Is AC charging better or is DC charging better? Well, if you don't mind paying a slight premium, DC charging is faster because the current is linear and more constant. Okay, so where possible, we want to opt for DC charging. So again, we have a micro learning course on electric vehicle charging systems. And what you see here is a website. It's ITE's corporate website, and you are looking at the page that will show you the various short courses that we offer here at ITE, right? Hundreds of courses that you can enroll. Okay, so there's something for everybody. www.ite.edu.sg/courses. So please visit our website, browse the courses that may be of interest to you and you may wish to sign up. Okay, so let me conclude my sharing. It's electrifying. Yes, it is. We are at the very early stages of electric vehicle adoption in Singapore. Okay, the journey is going to be an exciting one. This is something that we will not be able to avoid as Singapore strives to be a clean and green country. So I hope that through this sharing, you are more confident now of owning an electric vehicle or hybrid vehicle. And thank you, everybody, for spending time to join me in this sharing session. I now hand you back to the host, and we can start our Q&A.
Hi, Gregory. Shuhui here.
Hello, hi,
There
Shui.
are a couple of questions in the discussion forums and also one question in the live Q&A. So maybe you can go and check it out. Are you able to? You can just click on the discussion forum icon at the bottom bar. Yep.
Okay,
Do you see it?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Do I type my answers in or do I articulate my answers?
Yeah, you can just articulate. You
Okay,
can go through the questions one by one after answer
okay,
it accordingly. Yeah.
okay. So we have a question here: is wireless charging possible for electric cars? Yes, um, it is still in the research and development phase now. Wireless charging, the technical challenge is raising the efficiency of wireless charging. Okay, so right now, the most efficient method of charging electric cars is still to physically plug in with a wire. Okay, although we can expect wireless charging to be a feature in the future, we can expect wireless charging to be in a form of embedded chargers along our roads or expressway, and as you are driving, the vehicle is actually being charged. Okay, and in the case of public buses that run on batteries, okay, every time the bus comes to a halt at a bus stop, it is being charged wirelessly because there's a wireless charger somewhere on the roof of the bus stop itself. Okay, so these are ongoing research and development. Yeah. Okay, another question here is the electric vehicle landscape covered in a School of Engineering under electrical engineering? Well, electric vehicles employ a wide range of technology, so it's multidisciplinary in nature actually. Okay, so if we are looking at the charging infrastructure, yes, that will come under electrical engineering. If you're looking at the vehicle aspect of the high voltage system, of course, that will come under automotive engineering, and this is where I teach. Okay, so if you come to ITE today, you will see a fleet of hybrid as well as electric vehicles in our training facilities. Our students are already learning how to service and repair such vehicles. Okay. We may even be looking at telematics, okay, the Internet of Things. Okay, so truly it covers a wide range of disciplines. Yes. You're welcome. Check Pang, you're welcome. Yeah. Shuhui, do we have other questions?
Yeah, in the live Q&A, there is a question from Hong Wen Wong. He asks, are there any standardized charging powers that will be used in Singapore?
Standardized?
Charging powers that will be used in Singapore?
Standardized charging power.
Yeah, currently.
Uh, is the okay. I suppose it's not possible to ask the the person to rephrase that question. Okay, we have standardized charges, which I've covered earlier in my presentation. So standardized charges refers to the type of plugs that are sockets that are located on the vehicle as well as on our charging stations. Okay, so those are standardized. Okay, there's a national standard for that, and there are three possible types of chargers even as we speak. Okay. Um, as far as the type of electricity being used is either alternating current AC or direct current DC. Okay, the amount of current depends. Okay, depends very much on the design of the charger, okay, as well as the construction of the electric vehicle itself. Okay, so there are computers on board the charger as well as computers aboard the vehicle. We call them battery management systems. Okay, that will harmonize the charging process to make sure that the vehicle is not damaged. Neither is the charging station. Yeah, so there are standards. Is everything falls under everything is being confined, okay, within our local regulations, and it will be safe as long as your electric vehicle is purchased in Singapore and approved by the Land Transport Authority. It will be safe to use. I hope that answers the question. Can we go to the next question, Shui?
We have Timothy who asks, how do you see the vehicle maintenance landscape moving ahead compared to now?
Hi, Timothy. As you know, high voltage vehicles, whether it's battery hybrid or electric vehicles, contain less moving parts. Okay, essentially the most complex part of the most complex mechanical part of the cars that we have today is the internal combustion engine and also the transmission. So as we transit to hybrid cars or electric cars, we do away with the internal combustion engine and a very complicated transmission systems. So lesser moving parts, lesser wear and tear. Of course, we still have our mechanical systems. We still need to steer our vehicles and brake our vehicles. So those need to be serviced and repaired, but they are rather simple. So the landscape moving forward will be more in the area of diagnosis, okay, troubleshooting. When something goes wrong, how do we train our technicians to quickly identify and localize where the issues are, okay, and how do we quickly and safely effect a repair so that the turnaround time is minimized. Okay, so moving forward, this will be the major changes in our automotive service and repair industry landscape.
Moving on, the next question. We have Hyrule who asks, may I know what are the safety features available on the charging station? For example, is there like auto cut-off, etc. kind of function?
Yes, so all charging stations will come with emergency shut-off button. Is a big, bright red mushroom-shaped button, usually positioned somewhere where it's easily seen and easily reached. So if something goes wrong, just hit the button and everything will be good. It just shuts down the whole system. But it's also important that for you to know that there are built-in systems within the car as well. So the battery management systems in the car will shut off the charging process if, for example, there's a leakage or the battery temperature becomes too high as a result of charging. So there are many, many safeguards being built into the equipment. Yeah.
Question. What about electric motorcycles? Does the current government initiative also support the transitions to electric motorcycles?
Yes, definitely. In fact, uh, 3 weeks ago, we were reviewing some electric motorcycles already. Of course, these are not yet available on our road, but definitely we'll be seeing them. Yes.
Mr. Lim, for the
Yes.
micro courses that you mentioned on sustainable transport and EVs, are there any links or any
Oh,
directions
yes.
that you can
Uh,
tell the
well,
audience
if you
to search for it?
yes, all you need to do is to go to ITE's corporate website. That's at ite.edu.sg. Okay, click on courses, part-time courses. Okay, so you will see all the hundreds of different types of courses that we offer in various part-time modes as well. Okay, we have micro courses to cater to those who have only a few minutes at a time. Okay, to longer courses that lead to national certification. So it's ite.edu.sg.
There are no more questions left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you have anything that you want to further add on to your presentation?
Okay. The We had a question earlier whether we will have electric motorcycles or another common question I get is will we be seeing more electric cars? The answer will be yes. Okay, as more and more manufacturers realize that in order to continue to sell their products, they need to transit from internal combustion engines to cleaner modes of energy. And today, of course, there will be either a hybrid vehicle or electric vehicle. So as more and more brands come on board, we will start to see them making their way locally. As of course, whatever comes to our showrooms, when you buy them, they first have to be tested and approved by our Land Transport Authority. So that takes time, but it's happening. We will be seeing more and more of such products, definitely. So some of you may already know that we are already pilot testing a fleet of electric buses on our roads. So over time, our diesel buses will be getting old, they'll be phased out, and they'll be replaced by all these clean energy buses. Do we have another question, Shui? Okay, we have a question here. Personal mobility devices under our field. Wondering if they'll consider them again for Singapore's last mile transport. Okay. Well, PMDs, as we know, they are double-edged sword. While they are very useful as suggested here, for last mile transportation, we need to harmonize how they are being deployed. I suppose there was a big rush to introduce PMDs locally, for, I'm sure, for very good reasons. The devil is in the details, right? But unfortunately, there were some hiccups that resulted in some injuries and inconveniences to many other road users. But that doesn't mean that PMDs should be phased out altogether. They do have a role to play in public transportation, in personal mobility as well, solutions. So as we come to terms with how these devices are being used, as we roll out, as we understand the profile of users, and as we roll out more gentle regulations, I'm sure we will continue to see PMDs in our public spaces, but not the way that we are familiar with PMDs of recent. It should not be in this form.
Hi, we have a few questions that are coming up.
Yeah.
Then one question is asking
You're
which
welcome.
company is manufacturing electric vehicles in Singapore?
One more time.
Which company is manufacturing electric vehicles in Singapore?
Okay, right now we do not have any local company that mass produces electric vehicles. We do have R&D companies. They are producing electric vehicles not for public roads, but for other logistical purposes. So you will not find them zooming down on expressways. But if you go to certain facilities like PSA, for instance, or certain warehousing complexes, there are already automated electric vehicles being deployed, and some of these are designed and manufactured by our local companies. But if you're looking at mass-produced electric vehicles for the roads, something that you and I can buy, I think the most exciting news will be, of course, we know that Hyundai is setting up a plant in Singapore, somewhere in Bulim, and they will be rolling out their range of electric vehicles in a few years' time, when the facility is completed. And of course, we hope that with the success of Hyundai, more manufacturers will be enticed to set up shop here in Singapore as well.
next question. What are
Yes.
some of the organizations in this field that we should look out for in terms of job opportunities?
Organizations.
Yep.
Uh, okay, because the the eco structure that is ecosystem for electric vehicles, okay, is very wide. It ranges from charging infrastructure, okay, to public infrastructure, right, which which may include the design of our roads, okay, how charging stations are being deployed, okay. Of course, we need to have a reliable and comprehensive repair and maintenance industry as well to take care of all these vehicles and to make sure that they continue to operate safely and efficiently. So you can see that employment opportunities are plentiful. Okay, so depending on your area of specialization, whether you're into electrical engineering, whether you're into land transportation, whether you're into automotive engineering, um, even logistics, right? So they feed off each other, um, and yeah, so plentiful employment opportunities actually, as this industry continues to mature. Okay, we're now at a very early stage. It's early stage, yeah. Okay, yeah. So wait, I see you're having
We
fun.
have
Yeah.
Chloe that asks two
Yes,
questions.
Laurie.
So the first question is, with Singapore's investment in oil refining, does it hinder the progress of transitioning to electric vehicles?
No, you see that even our oil giants are pivoting towards cleaner energy. Okay, so Shell, for instance, okay, I mean, they are very big into fossil fuels. But if you own an electric vehicle, you may be recharging in one of Shell's many charging stations already. Okay, uh, so more and more fossil fuel companies, okay, like Shell, uh, will find a space to operate in the clean energy sector. So they have to complement their traditional business with clean energy business. I think that's the way ahead for them. Yeah. And
She
also
also
other forms
asked,
of renewable energy. Yeah, sorry. So yeah.
For electric vehicles having a limited range for distance, what will be a good solution since many Singaporeans would travel to Malaysia once border open, and that is their concern as well, as Malaysia
Yes.
may not have the charging points that are necessary.
Yes. That's a very valid question. You just described something called range anxiety. Okay. So yeah. In the immediate future, okay, your solution may be to own a hybrid vehicle or a plug-in hybrid. Okay, so this allows the vehicle to continue to be driven even though the battery may be discharged. Okay. But of course, I'm sure our neighboring country, Malaysia, also strives to go green. Okay, so there are already a small number of charging stations along our north-south highway. Okay, but of course, it's not enough to serve a whole deluge of Singapore electric cars. Once we open the floodgates and you all start driving in, there may not be enough facilities. Yeah. But over time, I'm sure there will be. But for now, I think your solution is to own a hybrid or plug-in hybrid electric. Yeah. Okay, we have one question here from Rizwan Hazmi regarding participation on deploying charging stations. Are there any criteria? Yes, there. Of course, we need to standardize uh, the deployment of charging stations in terms of how they operate, okay, as well as the standards that they deploy. Okay. Um, The agency that oversees electric charging stations deployment will be the Energy Market Authority at this point in time, as well as the LTA. Yeah. So this is this, as I explained earlier in my presentation, will be highly regulated because we are very concerned about safety of users and safety of people who are near such charging stations. They should not pose a threat at all. Yeah. So Hasmi, I hope that answers your question. Next question, Sue.
Further on to ask on the same question has for Rizan, he asked that, so do we need to take some approvals
Can
for
he clarify when he say we? Who are we? The vehicle owner or the people who wants to deploy charging stations? I do not understand the question.
Yeah, it's regarding on the deploying on the charging station.
Yes, yes. So let us say that I want to set up a business tomorrow to install charging stations. I need to get my equipment approved for use in Singapore. Number one. Okay, so just like uh, most electrical appliances that are sold locally, they have to be approved. Okay, um, especially those that operate on high voltages or high currents. Okay, yeah. So this has to be approved first, definitely. Right.
Thanks, Salim, for the great sharing and insights. We have come to the end
You're
of this
welcome.
session and thank you all for attending. You'll be provided with a short survey right after this session and we would love to hear some of your valuable feedbacks. Thank you once again for joining us and we hope you will enjoy the rest of the sessions today.